So we got a lead on a little mini bike that's kind of rare. It's not an American distributed bike. It's a Honda QR50, which is Honda's version of the Yamaha PW50. And we're here gonna go check this bike out. Not sure what the state of it is, but had a friend that has a friend that is looking to get rid of it, and that's what it was. So we're hoping they don't really know what the value of it is, and we can pick it up pretty cheap and see if we can get it fixed up and restored to be another addition to our little mini-moto fleet. So let's go see what we can find. All right, so what do you think about going to look at this Honda PeeWee?
Probably ride it and race it.
You want to ride it and race it? Yeah. So do you think it's going to be faster than the PeeWee and the JR, or slower?
Yeah. Slower.
Slower? What color do you think it'll be?
Green.
Green? Are you sure? What color is a Honda?
Red and green.
Red and green? I think it's just red. You want to make a bet?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, red or green?
Green.
Okay, it's a bet. I think red. What do you think is in the back there?
Maybe. I think the Honda's covered with stickers.
What Honda?
And that.
I don't see anything back there.
Get me out.
Get you out? Why?
Because you're lying.
I'm lying? What?
It's a PeeWee.
It's a what?
A PeeWee.
A PeeWee Honda? You want to go check it out?
I'm going to go in the back and check it out.
Alright.
I got a Honda PeeWee.
What did you say?
A Honda PeeWee.
A Honda PeeWee?
That's what they used to look like when a long time ago.
Oh yeah?
This is what they used to look like.
Look, you're right. It does have a lot of stickers on it.
Yeah. It even says motocross on it. Right here.
Yeah. It says Fox and Alpine Stars.
Yeah. It's the size of my PeeWee with numbers and stickers.
Yeah. It is. It's the Honda version of the PW50.
Yeah.
It's called a Honda QR50.
Yeah. I bet it.
And you know what else is cool?
What?
I think you're going to be the only one at the racetrack with a Honda 50, because they didn't even make these in America. It's from a different country.
They did make these in America.
No, these are from...
No, one time ago they used to make
No, they never did. This was...
No, this was when you were seeing them.
No, I'm telling you, this one was... They never sold these in America. They come from Japan or Australia. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So nobody can even get these bikes here in America.
Yeah.
You want to get it out? Take it in the shop?
Yeah. Probably test it out after the skate park.
Yeah, well, we'll work on it tonight because it didn't start. We're going to need to clean it up a little bit and maybe clean the carburetor out.
Maybe we should change the seat or something.
No, we'll clean it up and see.
Look, it's even a red PeeWee.
It's like, well, Hondas are red.
Yeah, but this is my PeeWee. I never had a Honda PeeWee.
All right, well, let's get it out and we can show everybody the rest of your bikes too, right?
Yeah. Let's go get Mommy and show her.
Being an avid Honda bike collector, and more specifically mini bikes, and then add on to that the fact that my little boy who's 4 years old is starting to ride and race motocross, it sometimes falls into my lap that I come across a bike, you know, for a good deal, or it's interesting, or it's rare because people know I collect them. And yesterday I was made aware of a little Honda that I've never heard of, and after some research I definitely wanted to check this bike out. And what I'm going to do is show you what it is and try to tell you a little bit of history about it, because this bike's not from America. It was never sold here in the US, and the information out there is pretty rare because it is not sold here, so nobody has them. I'm sure there's a few that do, but it's not a popular bike here in the US because they never sold them here. So it's not like your PeeWee 50 or your JR50s or even your Honda XR and CRF 50s. This bike was a little tough to find some info on, but it's very cool, and I'm really excited to show you about it. Let's check it out. Alright, so the first thing that I found here, I don't even know if you can see this font or not, but I found a website that helps decode Honda VIN numbers. So the VIN number on this bike is an AE01 dash and then a string of numbers. So what does that mean? I don't know. With this website, it helped me figure out that the first character, this letter of the numeral represents the country of manufacture. In this case, it's a J for Japan, so it should be present. Well, AE is definitely not Japan. That's not a J. So being that this bike I think is from Australia, that would make sense. And that's the other thing I forgot to tell you, is that the girl I bought this from, which is a really cool story, her father imported this bike, she said, from Australia, or she said it's from Japan, but he imported it from Australia. Kind of put those pieces together, and you can tell by that VIN number with the A that it's most likely an Australian manufactured bike from Australia. And her father specifically brought this bike over for her when she was a little girl, and she has had it ever since. So I don't know much about this bike besides the fact that it's from Australia and she's had it in her possession basically her whole life. So that was a pretty cool little sidebar story for me. And rolling into the Australia theory, that makes sense. AE01, you see up here Honda QR50, and the years that these were made, it seems like it's from 83 all the way up to 97, and obviously not here in America. So I'm gonna take a guess. I don't see this other digit. I'm not sure what this other one means. You have a, what does it say on the top? A year code digit, and I don't have another letter in my VIN besides the AE01. So if I use that E, it says 1984. So that goes with my theory about the font looking in the 84, 85 era of how Honda did the blue seat with that font. So that makes sense. I'm going to go with that and say it's an 84. If there's anybody out there watching this that knows, that'd be really cool if you can let me know, or let me know how to figure it out or decode this VIN even better. So I'd appreciate a comment on that if you got it. Alright, what else do we know about this bike? Not much. So this is a tough one. And doing some Google searching, I found a couple little, dealer brochures or something like that. This one looks like the bike that I have. It's got the same sort of font on it. Actually, it looks a little bit different. But blue seat, red plastics, gold wheels. I don't have gold wheels, but I can tell that these are either painted or it may be from a later year QR, because I think as it gets into the 90s, in the upper 90s, they go to the red and white 90s CR motocross color scheme. So this, I had an 87 Honda CR125 when I was a kid, and it had this red and blue scheme on it. So I think Honda during the 80s was a red plastics, blue seat. So I don't know what year this is, but it looks similar to mine. Unfortunately, I can't read the writing on here. It's too distorted for me to see. So more searching led me to another advertisement here, and this is You know, I don't even know what year. Can't see anything as far as years go. This is a different color scheme QR. I don't know what year it is, like I said, but it's got a red plastics with a red seat. So I think that would probably be a little bit later, maybe late 80s, maybe even early 90s. I don't know. But one thing's for sure, they all seem to have the gold wheels. I don't have the gold wheels, so I think mine's been painted. So let's go over this, because I'm learning too. And if you're watching this from America, maybe you know some stuff about it, maybe not. We can learn together. If you're watching this from Australia and you know about these, get a hold of me, because I need to know about this bike, and I'm going to need to know a source of parts for it, which I know is going to be ordering internationally. So hit me up on that. I'm going to need some help, and I'd appreciate if you guys out there that knew about them would help me out. All right, so let's go over what it says here. Start your future champion out on a real winner. Don't you wish there had been a machine made just for you when you were trying to find out how much fun you could really have in the dirt? Instead, all you heard was, wait till you're bigger. And didn't that wait seem like forever? Well, times have changed for the littlest Rough Riders. Now there's a real off-road machine of their very own, the Honda QR50. Styled like Honda's trophy-taking CR motocrossers, QR50 has what it takes to make a champion out of every little dreamer. Well, I have a little dreamer. I don't know if he's going to be a champion or not, but I think it's going to be pretty rad that he's on a little Honda QR50. So we'll go with that. Sounds good. Powerful and dependable two-stroke engine with sure-firing CDI automatic oil fuel mixing system, confidence-inspiring single-speed centrifugal clutch transmission, fully enclosed drive chain. Notice it said drive chain. So unlike the shaft drive PeeWee 50, this has a sealed unit chain drive. That is unique. If I was looking at this bike and didn't even know this or didn't find this, I couldn't tell you that wasn't a shaft drive in there. So that's good to know. Also, that's a little unfortunate, because if the rules were followed real closely down into a serious AMA competition, this would not be a shaft drive, so it wouldn't fit into a shaft drive class at that point. Unfortunate, but I see where Honda was going with this, because when I first saw this, the first thing I thought of was PeeWee 50. So obviously they didn't want to knock off the PeeWee 50. They want to do things their own way. One way to do things a little bit different is go with the chain drive instead of a shaft drive. How do we make it maintenance free like the PeeWee 50? Well, we just do a sealed unit. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. I like chains. They're easy. They're probably a little bit lighter. However, I don't know where that would go into the rules. So one difference between the PeeWee 50 is the chain drive. Then it says two-stage control lets beginners start out slow. Throttle stop speed control can be increased as riders experience and confidence grow. Most bikes have speed controls, all these little bikes. Handy start interlock system requires rear brake to be engaged before engine will start. I am super happy I saw that, because when we tried starting this bike, when we bought it, it wouldn't start. So it kicked over fine. It wasn't seized up, but there's nothing. So maybe it said I have to hold the rear brake. That'd be pretty interesting, and pretty funny story. So let's figure that out here in a little bit when I try to start it again. Then we have a bolt-on down tube front subframe, doubles as a sturdy engine guard. Compliant front fork, single damper unit swing arm rear suspension absorb the bumps from off-road riding. Okay, that's a unique thing too. Compliant front fork and single damper unit swing arm. Single damper. What does that mean? That means it's got a monoshock. Monoshocks are not something you see on a little two-stroke 50. So if you can see in there, this thing's got a monoshock. Obviously, you see it doesn't have any rear shocks like the PeeWee and the JR do. So that's interesting to me. That means this thing's got some decent suspension travel, and it probably handles jumps a little bit better than the PeeWee and the JR, which handled jumps terribly. They bottom out basically on every jump, even with the 45-pound 3 or 4-year-old. So very cool little monoshock in there. While we're down here, you see the sealed chain unit. So basically there's a chain in here, probably front sprocket, rear sprocket configuration, but this is all one unit sealed. So while that looks like a pain in the rear end to me to have to deal with, you probably don't have to deal with it too often. So maybe I'll take it off one time just to see what's in there and make sure it's got its oil or lubrication. Then of course, front and rear leading trailing drum brakes, the bicycle-like hand operation that's easy for beginners. Obviously, most of these bikes have BMX or bicycle style handbrakes. That's just how they are. Most of these 50cc bikes have front and rear drum, and the consensus in my opinion about rear hand actuated brakes, I do not like it. I'm going to jump over to the JR50 over here real quick and just show you something cool on that. Check this out. Foot actuated rear brake. Thumbs up for Suzuki for going with that, because there's nothing worse than teaching a little guy from the age that he's 4 till whenever you put him on a bigger bike that he's controlling the rear brakes with his hands, because that doesn't happen. You control the rear brakes with your foot. And so essentially when your kid jumps up to the next style of bike, he's going to have to learn how to use a rear foot brake. So I put my boy on the JR mostly out of anything, because I like for him to know that. I like for him to know his rear foot is the brake and nothing else. So Honda's going with Yamaha's Q on that with the hand actuated rear brake. What are you going to do? So you have next on the list, attractive MX styling features, large fuel tank and fenders, comfortably low seat over tank design, and gold colored triple spoke steel wheels. This is a Q straight out of Yamaha's playbook. Stamped steel wheels, they even look real similar. Obviously you have a plastic gas tank, and it looks like you have like a one-piece rear fender side number plate sort of thing. So just like the PeeWee 50, the seat and fenders probably all come off as one piece, which is good because it helps ease the trackside repairs. And last on the list, exciting new color and graphics, blah blah blah. Yeah, just like the real racers, or of course you're gonna make a little bike look like a big one. So obviously this isn't my bike though, but it's the ad that I found that I could read. So I know you can't see these specifications. Maybe I can make the font a little bit bigger here. Let's see. Engine air-cooled two-stroke. It is a two-stroke, single cylinder, obviously. Bore stroke 40 by 39.3. Displacement 49.4. So that's 49.4 cc's. 7.2 to 1 compression. 12 millimeter piston valve. 2.7 PS max horsepower. That's different than an American rating. I'm not sure what that means. I know I should. Max torque 0.38 kilograms at 5,000 RPMs. Once again, that's a rating that I'm not used to. It's got a CDI ignition, capacitor discharge. It does have a little coil on here, and Honda's started going to a coil-fired CDI ignition, I believe probably around 81 or 80, maybe a little bit later. My old Z50 over there still has point style, as does this 70 Trail 70 with the point style ignition. It's kind of a real pain in the butt, because here's my bucket of parts from doing that coil swap. It's a lot of parts and wires. So going back, ignition, capacitor, we got that. Starter, primary kick starter. Transmission is single speed with a centrifugal clutch, just like the other 50s out there. Or two-stroke 50s. It's not a shifting transmission. No clutch either. Final drive enclosed oil bath roller chain. That's where I saw that. That's unique. Frame, double cradle bolt on, same as a PeeWee. Dimensions, we won't go through the numbers. These are all millimeters, so can't think of the inches off the top of my head. Two most important parts for me would be the seat height, for 495 millimeters. The ground clearance, 95 millimeters. So convert those over, but it looks almost identical to the PeeWee 50. I'll line these two bikes up later and we'll do a comparison video, show the difference between the two. So the other things, the tires, of course, 2.5 by 10s, just like everything else. Suspension, telescopic fork, 60 millimeters of travel. The rear unit swing arm, single damper, 45mm axle travel, single damper is the key thing there. Brakes, front and rear drum, dry weight 35 kilograms. That's basically the breakdown there. It's a pretty interesting thing to figure out, and I don't know, we'll see what happens. The one thing that I didn't pick up on is an oil tank for the oil injection. I can show you where those things are in drop of a hat on the PW50 and the JR. PW50 is right there, and JR is right there. So I didn't see that on this bike. So I guess I'm gonna have to take some plastics off. I have no idea where that would be. I did notice something that's different on this is there's some sort of thing here that to me would kind of look like a sealed, some sort of filler neck. So I have no idea what this would be for, other than to put oil in for oil injection. I had a Suzuki DRZ 400 that had it kept the engine oil inside the frame. It was a dry sump engine oiling system, and the oil was kept in the frame. So that's the first thing I thought of here. I don't know if that's the case here, because I just don't see another source of oil for this. So I'm gonna have to check it out. But it also could be that the original owners might have eliminated that system, because that's a popular thing that happens when people take these racing, because oil injection tends to make them a little rich. You can get a little bit more power by leaning that out a bit, which involves mixing your own fuel. So it could be that the system was deleted. I don't know. I couldn't tell you like I could tell you on a PeeWee or a JR. So that's one thing we'll just have to get figured out.